Wilbert T. Sass, Omaha, Nebraska. I have a quick update for my Facebook page, and I also want to create this YouTube video that I can then use it to embed the video on my website at the homepage, www.blockcity. Now let me back up on that. That's wrong. City www. Pardon me, I'm an old man, and so my thinking is kind of, slowed down a little bit. So and besides that, I just got this going this overnight here, so it's still fresh in my mind. It's an increased iteration of 7cities.com and my business plan for select business owners in local zip code cities. And I've reduced it down in the past from zip code cities to carrier route cities, and further down to neighborhood cities. These are all trademark.coms, by the way. But I felt that the neighborhood thing was not far enough down as far as targeting for marketing and sales. So I moved into what I have, I think, invented the idea as far as target marketing. I don't think anybody's doing this. I just dreamt the idea up overnight and registered the domain, and it is now, I hope I get it right, cityblockcities.com, cityblockcities.com. So, and I hope it's going to be on the first page of this video. Well, I guess it won't be. I was going to try to create it on my computer with my video software, but they make that software for people that know what they're doing, and I don't know. I mean, I spend the time I spend trying to learn how to use that software. I can do it like this: just go on YouTube, go ahead and slam it up there, and then take the code and slam it onto my website, and then I got it done. And then I can use me face to face talking with who's ever going to see the video. And to me, that's the best way, at least the fastest way for me to use it. So anyway, back to cityblockcities.com, and that's trademarked, by the way, that I've published. And I think I put it on Facebook already, but if not, I will as soon as I get this video done. All right, now what you have to understand, if you're a consumer or if you're a business owner, a local business owner, if you're a franchise store, forget it. Just go on about your business and deal with it. I feel my heart goes out to you for trying to run a franchise today, but that's another story. And you can read about all that at 7cities.com. But anyway, this is for local independent business owners that are made aware of my business plan to get customers easy. And part of that program is my concept of cityblockcities.com, trademarked now and copyrighted. And what you have to understand about it is whenever you've got a product to sell or a service to sell, you have to have some way to make the customer that's going to buy it, that it needs it, that wants it, that desires it. You have to have an effective way to get the information to your potential market, the people that are going to buy and desire and want and need whatever it is you're selling. And the way advertising is run today, all of that is reserved for the big companies. There's, there's only a few thousand of those. Really, in truth, there's only just a handful of them, actually. and there's got the Fortune 100 and the Fortune 500 and the Fortune 1000 and whatever, but there's just a few compared to the 23 million local independent business owners. They're in every town, in every city, in every little small rural city. You'll find local independent business owners. Now, I don't know about you, but it makes sense to me that if I want to sell something, you know what I want to do? I want to get with those local independent business owners, but I only want to use one of each category in each zip code or carrier route or neighborhood, city, or now city block cities. Now, the reason for that is, as I said before, you have to have some way to notify these people about it, your service, your product, so forth. So if I'm selling my program that my select business owners members have been approved for and will be using, they want to talk to consumers. Well, there has to be an effective way to do that. When I say effective, it's also got to be efficient. What does that mean? That means that you can be effective with advertising. You can go on a TV station and buy out whatever available spots they have, and you're probably going to get some reaction, but it's going to cost you a fortune, right? So the amount of reaction, the amount of positive response, the amount of sales that you make, ratio and relative to the cost that you have engendered and invested in order to get that response is efficiency. So you've got a cost benefit ratio. What does it cost to the advertising, and what kind of benefit do I get? And when you consider those two things, hardly any, if any, of the small business owners can afford to advertise today because they don't have the top line. In order to have a huge advertising budget, you have to have a huge top line of sales so that you don't go broke advertising. See, so now a lot of people use the real familiar lists that you see online, and you can go on there, and some of them they offer very low cost advertising, but they give you like 2 days. So if you figure your ad that you buy, and it costs you $5 if you're in a small population city. If you're in a big population city, it costs more per ad, and it lasts 2 days. You figure that out, what that ad costs you, even though you only put $5 up. If you're in a small city like Omaha, it costs $5 to run an ad on one of those lists. Now that's the one that's where a lot of the stuff on there is free. If you go some of these brand name lists that you see on TV, if you go try to buy an ad on there, like say like a direct mail, there's a real popular direct mail franchise. I don't want to mention these names because I'm not trying to downgrade them. I'm just trying to make a comparison as to what's available out there and what I sell. And that's the essence of selling. You got to be able to have the ability to show people why they'd want to buy what you're selling instead of what's out there. Now, you don't want to be defamatory. You don't want to run them down. All you're doing is comparing. Okay, that's the essence of professional selling. You have to have comparable options, and you have to single out yours as to why it's the best one. So the other lists that are out there, besides the free ones, and by the way, all the search engines out there, the branded ones, does make a difference. If you go on there and you search out kinds of businesses, categories of businesses, it'll throw up a whole list of them. And if you go to most of them, you go over to them, and then there's a side detail panel that shows up on the right. And 98% of those, or I don't know if it's 98, but it's almost all of them. When I go to the website icon, there's no website. That's why there's up to 42 trillion website people out there trying to sell websites today. And see, they can't. Most of them can't. See, it didn't save anybody any money or make anybody any money really when you get down to it. When the website craze started here 25 years ago or whatever it was, because the people that added the web, now some companies, the big that have got those big advertising budgets, Yeah, it has created sales for them. But trust me, it has also created a huge cost of doing business. And if you don't believe that, then take a look at some of the news accounts as how these big outfits treat their employees. And now it's even worse because you got them eliminating employees by the big vast numbers because they can hire machines to do the work faster. Now they got to make an upfront big investment, and that's what a lot of people don't really understand about all these automated, machines that are supposed to do the work of 100 people. That might be true, but there's also the upkeep. You got to have somebody who knows how to run them, and they don't work cheap. You got to have somebody who knows how to build them, and they cost a fortune to build. Trust me, most of them are still in the developmental stages, so you don't know really what you're buying, whether you're buying a cat in a sack or what you're doing. We're in the beginning, early stages of all that business, and most of the people that are in business today want to know about this week and next week and in this quarter without worrying about what's going to be available 10 years down the road and how it's going to affect me. The idea is make money today. That's what my business plan is designed to do. Now, back to cities. When you look at advertising that the big boys do, one of the biggest forms is direct mail. Okay, and what people don't, and I get direct mail in my mailbox every day from small companies around Omaha where I live at the Palace. And I see small companies around in Omaha here, various ones, using a postcard comes in my mailbox. Well, more power to them. They're spending the amount of money, whatever it is, and it's not cheap when you start doing it the way they're doing it. Believe me, it's not cheap because remember I said it's not just whether or not you get any response, but it's how much response do you get about compared to what you're spending. So are you getting a profit on it? And if you are, God love you, that's great. But my experience is, see, what people don't understand about direct mail is it's a 2 to 3%, if you're lucky, response. But they don't, and that's pretty widely known. Okay, everybody will say, well, yeah, you got 2-3% on direct mail response. But what they don't say, and what is generally not known, in order to get that response, you got to drop at least 100,000 pieces. And if you don't drop 100,000 pieces, well, then the response rate goes off below the basement level, past the footings, right way down deep in the ground. In other words, there ain't any hardly. and if you really want to get down to it, the reason why the big companies, the big companies, they spend millions on direct mail. The reason why they do is because when they do have that kind of volume and drop that many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pieces, they get a 2 to 3% response rate. And you might ask yourself, well, that might not be giving them the effective orders or sales that they want. Well, that's because you don't understand why they're doing it. They're not doing it to get sales or customers. They already got that. The only reason why they're doing it is to protect their share of market, keep their brand out in front of the public. That's the only reason. Most of the advertising that big companies do today is not to get new customers because they already got those customers. They've got a certain big share of a certain market, and they're not advertising to get more of the other competitor. Yeah, they'd like to get it, but if they get 0.25% increase in their share of market, I mean, the marketing vice president earns a ton of money on a bonus because that's just a windfall when it comes that way. But they're doing this to keep their brand out there in front of people. And that's the misunderstanding among most people of what's the purpose of advertising and why do they spend all this money? They'll spend hundreds of thousands on one video and hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy one spot on a big, like a big football game or something like that, see, or on a major network. where there's millions of viewers. Okay, but let's talk about just Joe Blow and Ma Brown. They've got this little store down here in this town, and they got competitors out the wazoo in their particular category of business in their city. Depending on the size of the business, the more population live in the cities, the more hardware stores you have, whether they're franchise or whether they're independent. The more drugstores you have, the more this and that and the other. But let's just say you got a little old dry cleaning business out here. There's one in Omaha here. I won't mention the brand, but they do real well. They've been around a long time. But there's a lot of other places you can get dry cleaning done. Now, if they want to get business and they want to have an effective way to get business, they have to have some way to get their story out to their customers. And they can't spend. Take another category, say a beauty shop. They have to rely on their location and how long they've been in business and so forth to get new customers. It's a difficult job. So my business plan deals with that. And I'm not here to sell the business plan. I'm here to explain what City Block Cities is. That's what you call extreme, ultra targeting customers without spending an arm and a leg. Okay, so if you take if you have my business program, the budget is built in for advertising because I group all of my approved members together. If you want to learn about selectbusinessowners.com, you have to go and you have to study the whole plan. It's not easy. There's a lot of moving parts, and the reason there are is so it's effective. You can't just put some DreamWorks together deal, wish list together, throw it out there, and expect it to work because that ain't the way business plans are operated. Most people, I've been creating business plans, my business plan for 20 years. Now, you might say, well, how's that work? I say, well, I don't know, but I did it. So, and it's here and it's available. I tell it every day almost on my Facebook page, and people look at it like a calf looking at a new gate. I see people start here lately, and I don't know whether it's a ruse to sell me advertising on Facebook or what it is, but all of a sudden here lately, I see I getting notices that people are visiting my various pages. And that could be just a ruse to sell me advertising. And I'm not downgrading them for doing it if that's what they're doing, except that, you have to be aware of why something like that already starts. But if it's actual people going there, it's because they've been maybe some later people that have been. I've got not a lot of followers. In fact, very few comparatively to a lot of these others that are on there. But they've all come about recently, and I'm not sure why that is, except that my business plan has become more informative and more ready to sell recently, and it's getting very close to being able to be sold now. So, and this is one of the outcomes is City Block Cities, because I've got a program that I developed called Mini Mail Marketing. Now, mini, that means the word mini is like small. Okay. Now that runs in the face of direct mail, because in direct mail, anybody that knows anything about it knows it's not mini, it's major. I mean, excuse me. I get talking so fast I don't swallow that. So anyway, but the reality is, if you've got a business plan you're selling to local independent business owners like I am, and let's say it's just overwhelmingly successful, and it will be if it's done just shotgun. But I know this, see. And so that's why I've designed it. So the new customers, when I say get customers easy, I don't want to run 1,000 new customers in on one of my, if you talk to them, when you ask them, would you like to have 1,000 new customers? And they'd all say yes, well, but do you want them all the same week? No, because they wouldn't be able to handle the business, and that'd be the worst thing that could happen to them. But if I can feed new customers to them daily in numbers that impact their operating costs in a way that lowers them. In other words, the more sales you get, if your operating costs stay the same, unless you're in the food business or part of what your service is, you have to it's value added. You're increasing costs, but when you're increasing those costs and your top line's going up, your margins in there take care of you as far as increasing your profit down at the bottom line. Did you get that? If you didn't, then you better go and start studying up on how business works. And I don't have time to repeat it. I've already blown 20 minutes here, and I got to get to city block cities here, so you understand how to use that and to get that steady drip, drip, drip. Now, like I said, I've got the budget for the advertising, but I don't want to blow that budget all at once because I'm not trying to overwhelm my business owner. They don't want that. They can't handle that. A lot of them even are getting to retirement age and they don't even really want more business. They don't want to hire more people. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. But there's a lot of them out there that do, and then there's some that fall in between and so on and so forth. So they've got the ability to select. When I say get customers easy, do you want to get 50 a week or do you want to get 10 a week? You want to get 100 a week? Whatever you want to do, you can do it with my program. And I can, and that's all built into my program, and you have to study the program to understand how that's possible, you see. So, but it's possible, believe me, because it's all logical, objective, and there's no subterfuge. I'm not prevaricating anything. It's all out there. And when my program where the money that which is only $499 currently for a lifetime charter membership, and it's transferable and saleable. So it gives you, and it's a written agreement. So, I mean, you can launch this program and get an exclusive in a zip code city, neighborhood city, carrier route city, neighborhood city, and now you can get it down to block city blocked cities. And what that means is, and if you look at my Facebook page, you'll see a graphic that I created with the houses on all sides of a block in a city. Well, if you say there's 20 families, 20 houses on a block, the average family, average occupancy is like about 3 to 4 people. Well, you're looking at about 50 consumers right there in that one block. Now, if you can get enticed by sending a little postcard that's got my directory, localpagedeals.com, organized by zip codes. So when customers when they're at work or when they're at home, they can go to local page deals. They can go to the zip code they live in, which they provide with their email address when they register to get free notifications about adding local independent business owners by cities as I open cities when I go with this program. Then they can easily find where they can get baseball coupons. Now, what in the world are baseball coupons? Well, there's first base, second base, third base, fourth base coupons, and every time you use one, you get a little bit better discount, and it raises as you use the discounts. So you get around to the home base, and then it starts over. So you're getting maximum discounts by repeating I call it, brand it, progressive savings coupons, okay? And the big companies and the franchises and the other local independent business owners don't have it because I only sell it to one in a zip code maximum. So they can't continue to offer those kind of discounts and keep up with their share of market and still make money. That's the whole essence of it. In other words, I move those people that are already spending this money in that zip code. I move them from the businesses they're selling or spending the money over to the businesses that are select business owners, approved members of my program in that city. All right. Now, I just, like I say, so I call it enduring loyalty awards. I mean, you're awarded handsomely for doing that. And the bottom line is today, I mean, if you're not offering comparable products, you're in the food business and you're not offering comparable food, you're not going to be around very long because people aren't going to go spend their money for food they don't like. So it behooves everybody's in the food business. And I owned 15 restaurants during my career when I was active, really active out on the street. I've owned that many. I had 10 at one time, national brand franchise. That's where I learned you don't want to be in the franchise business. Own a franchise. You don't want that because it's all designed to make the franchise brand owner money, and not you. I mean, you bought a job when you buy a franchise. That's all explained on my website. But anyway, so the mini mail USA.com concept is to concentrate. If you're a zip code business owner and you're approved in my program, with the budget's there, so the cards go out, and I target those mailings down as low as the start out at the blocks that are closest to your business. So those people know that when they get the baseball coupons that you offer, they can get a savings up to 50%, depending on the category of business. Now, you have to understand that money that's out there available every day in every town and every zip code. There's what's called the disposable income. That's the total amount of money that's spent every day in every zip code in every city. That's the total amount of money. But everybody don't buy just one thing that out of that total amount of money. That total amount of money then, that's called disposable income that's being spent, that's in our economy every day, boom, that amount of money is being spent. It's what's left over after people pay their fixed costs, their house payment, rent, car payment, gas, utilities, so forth, and food has got to be an important part of that as well. So people got to eat every day, right? So if they can save 50 to up to 50% on their food expenditures, I'm not talking about grocery store now. I'm talking about most people today. I mean, there's a lot of people buying groceries. Don't get me wrong. But if people are out at work and when they get home at night, they're so tired they don't want to make something, they want it delivered in, I've got the program that can do that for them from businesses that will save them up from 30 to 50%. So that's the end of that. Study this city block cities concept for mini mail USA and learn how that can be an advantage to you. Thank you.